My walk-in pantry had 8 shelves on each side. The right side had my usual stock of noodles, soups, beans, rice, and much more. When I entered with my box held in both my arms, I noticed that I was low on cereal. I made a note in my head as I set my box down on the long fold-out table in the back of the pantry. I carefully removed each jar, 4 of them, large enough to contain a body part. The heaviest one had a portion of Carmen Vasquez's brain. The others were lighter. One contained a set of fingers, another contained her eyes, and the last held a piece of her heart. Seeing the jars before me let me feel so close to her. I had kissed her in the department store where she'd worked at, but she didn't react well. Every time I'd shop there, she flirted, toyed, and even said yes to a date. But that kiss. She made me feel like we might not always be so close. But here she was, mine forever. I sighed, smiling at Carmen in her 4 neat jars. I placed the jars carefully on the shelves to the left, across from the food. She had a special spot on the second shelf in the middle, where her eyes would be level with my own. The other girls, in their own jars, surrounded her. I knew they'd be jealous at first, but soon enough Carmen would feel right at home. I touched the jar with her eyes in them, gently, and smiled at her. "Good night, Carmen," I said, and I turned off the pantry light. When I walked into the kitchen, I froze. The lights were off, as were the lights in the living room. Swearing I'd left the lights on, I turned toward the light switch. Suddenly, I felt something sharp in my neck and hands holding me as my world blurred and faded. When I woke up, I was lying down. I could see plastic on the ceiling. Behind the plastic was my ceiling fan in my bedroom. I turned my head, looking around. Plastic covered my walls, my television, my bed, even my dresser. There were photographs displayed on my dresser. My beloved Carmen was there. So was Janine, Karen, and even Cynthia. I tried to move, but I was firmly taped onto the table. "Your fold-out table came in handy, Derek," a deep male voice had said. It had come from above my head behind me towards the door to the rest of my upstairs. "I found it in your pantry. I hope you don't mind." "What is this? Who are you?" "Who I am isn't important. I am giving you what you deserve." I grabbed my face and turned my head toward the photographs of my women. "It looks like your love life's been killer." "Wait, they're with me. They're safe. They're downstairs. You saw them." He put a finger on my forehead, pressing down hard. He bent forward, and I saw his upside-down face over my own. "Stop!" he said, and an anger in his eyes that was oddly enough accompanied by what looked like delight. "I found where they really are, but I also found where you left the rest of their bodies. Please, you're not going to take them away from me, are you? They're mine." I pressed my arms against the plastic and the tape, screaming with the last words that I said, and my right arm broke free. I brought it up to his face, grabbing the back of his hair and pulling it. I tried getting up, but only succeeded in rolling to one side. The table gave way and tilted, spilling me onto the carpet. It was also covered in plastic. While I realized I was naked, I got a look at the floor. Knives, scalpels, saws, and more plastic were kept neatly next to my head. The man lunged at me. His gloved hands grabbed my neck and shifted his weight and brought me to the floor with him on top of me. I punched at him with my free hand while he squeezed my neck. He reached for a knife. I tried to get him off me. He faltered briefly, but it was too late. He had already grabbed a large, shiny knife. Before I could do anything else, he moved the knife in such a quick motion that for a moment I thought he'd missed me. Then I felt a warmth spilling onto my shoulders, and I knew he'd cut my throat. I looked up at him, helpless, as he calmly looked into my eyes and watched my life bleed out onto the plastic floor.